Hey y'all, Christy here from Elevate Your ABA Supervision. Now, if you supervise RBTs, you've probably experienced this. They know the behavior plan, they've run it correctly before, but then something unexpected happens and they freeze. Not because they don't care, not because they're incapable, but because they don't know how to read the moment. Today, we're talking about why clinical judgment doesn't just develop naturally and how supervision can start shaping that skill on purpose. When we train our RBTs, we often focus on accuracy, follow the steps, implement with fidelity, collect the data. But what happens when the client suddenly elopes or when a behavior escalates in a way that's not in the plan? That's when real life decision making really matters. And that's not something that most RBTs are trained to do. Clinical judgment means recognizing what's relevant in the moment, deciding how to respond, and adjusting with intention, not panic. These aren't advanced skills for later. These are foundational skills that often get overlooked in supervision. So here's the thing. Most RBTs aren't struggling with effort. They're struggling with how they've been taught to think. They've been trained to follow steps and not observe, or seek approval but not make decisions, or wait for instruction but not take perspective. And so when something happens that isn't in the plan, they hesitate. Not out of defiance, but because no one's helped them to build that situational awareness. That gap shows up in moments like delayed responses to problem behavior, or looking to you for confirmation instead of doing in the session, or over-reliance on scripts, even when the moment calls for flexibility. This isn't a performance issue, it's a teaching opportunity. So what do? We shift our focus from what did they do to what did they notice? Because clinical judgment doesn't start with doing, it starts with awareness. Here's a strategy that I like to use. Pick one moment from your observation, not necessarily the biggest moment, just something that went slightly off script. And then ask one of these questions. What was going through your mind right then? What did you notice right before that happened? Or if that happened again, what might you do differently and why? Questions like this do more than prompt reflection. They build attunement. They help your RBT start to form the habits of thinking that lead to confident, flexible responding. And they don't need a full sit down to do this. It can happen in like a quick 90 seconds between transitions. Now, if you want to take this even further, I created a CEU called When Plans Meet Real Life, focused specifically on helping supervisors to teach and shape clinical judgment and situational awareness. And when you take this CEU, you also get access to a tool from the ASCEND RBT Assessment System, the Clinical Judgment and Situational Awareness Assessment. This tool helps you to evaluate where your RBTs are with their real-time thinking, guide your feedback and supervision goals, and use practical teaching tools to shape that skill over time. You're not just assessing, you're coaching more effectively. And it's a simple shift with a big impact. So if you've ever thought they know the plan, so why are they hesitating? This is why. They don't need more steps, y'all. They need support learning how to think. Check out that CEU and grab the tool at the link below. Let's keep building supervision that's efficient, effective, and real. Supervise smarter, not harder. Thanks for watching.